The Bruins beat the Anaheim Ducks 2-1 in a shootout on Thursday night here at TD Garden. I'm Conor Ryan of Boston Sports Journal, here to give you a couple of takeaways from tonight's game. And I think when you look at a game like this for the Bruins, not their best effort, right? I think you look up and down the lineup, you look at a game like this where it seems like it's a very winnable game for the Bruins. Some positives, you don't give up 7 goals as you did against Ottawa, so progress. But down the other end of the ice, a lot of failed opportunities for the Bruins to really kind of, run away from this game. A lot of quality chances against John Gibson, but just couldn't seem to get the puck into the net. Power play was really stagnant. It was 0 for 5 on the night. And it was kind of the main takeaway after the game from Jim Montgomery. Happy they got the 2 points, but really lacking in a lot of details, a lot of, lack of urgency, lack of pace, not nearly as much poise with the puck. And this is a game that was very winnable, and they did get the 2 points, but I think a lot of that is a direct result of Linus Ullmark once again standing on his head. It's been a really strong start to the season for Ullmark. He's a guy that has talked about the fact that he just feels a lot more comfortable this year. He's not looking for a home, settling in his family, all those kind of little things you maybe take for granted for these pro athletes when it comes to moving to a new market and adjusting to it. Just seems a lot more comfortable in net. And game like tonight, he was money, especially as the game went on in that overtime. And he has that breakaway chance he turns aside, 5 total saves in overtime. This very well could have been a very, very frustrating game. And I say frustrating, it was frustrating to watch. It was not really an enjoyable game to really kind of take in here. The Bruins just really didn't seem like they had any jump to their game at all. And Ullmark really bailed him out in this one. It's just the latest in another encouraging trend that you're seeing from Ullmark. I don't think we've hit a point in the season yet, this early on, where we're looking at Ullmark running away with the 1A job or anything like that. I'm sure the Bruins still want to get Swayman back involved and get him rolling as well. But in the early going here, though, when you're looking at the way the Bruins are playing, the way they're still sorting things out in terms of getting Jim Montgomery's systems down, dealing with injuries on the blue line, obviously, to have a guy like Ullmark, start strong out of the gate has been huge for this team. You look at, Pastrnak and these guys who were putting up points early. I think through the first week plus of the season, Ullmark has to be kind of the early MVP in terms of how the Bruins are able to keep on collecting these points out of the gate with so many injuries. So encouraging news to see the Bruins continue to have really strong goaltending from Ullmark in this one. Other takeaways, encouraging to see Matt Grzelcyk back out there. He was pretty much started off the game on the third pairing with Zaboral, and about 5 minutes in, Montgomery pushed him up on his offside over to the top pairing with Hampus Lindholm. Was effective. Again, not really flashy, but was kind of the Grzelcyk we kind of expect in terms of was good with moving the puck, good in transition, all those little things that can limit the amount of time the opponent has in Boston's end. So whether it's that transition game or you hope he gets to maybe a little bit of a higher offensive ceiling under Jim Montgomery's systems, just having Grzelcyk back out there is a huge plus for this team moving forward. Jack Studnicka was probably the other player who was making his debut tonight after sitting out the first 4 games, and it's not good. It was a really rough first game for Studnicka, which is a tough hit for him, considering I think he had a really strong preseason. You easily could have made the argument that he deserved the starting nod in that game against Washington over Thomas Nosek in terms of that fourth line spot. But you look at this game, right? Montgomery gives him the 3C, bumps Coyle out of the way, so he's in a comfortable spot in the lineup. And Studnicka just didn't have it in this one, right? I mean, he played 8 minutes of ice time, had the giveaway that led to Anaheim's lone goal of the game, and then commits 2 penalties, sits for pretty much the first 10 minutes of the third period, gets back on the ice, and commits another penalty. After that, did not see really any ice time at all. So, again, a tough break for a guy that seems like similar to last year, had a really strong preseason and just never built any traction out of it. But if you're the Bruins, you're trying to solidify this lineup and you're trying to find the best guys in that bottom 6. It's tough when you kind of shuffle things around and give Studnicka a pretty good landing spot in his first game, and you get a performance like this. So we'll see kind of how the Bruins juggle their lineup after that. And then the other main takeaway, Taylor Hall gets the goal, the lone goal in regulation for the Bruins, gets the eventual winner in the shootout. And it's encouraging for a guy like him in terms of just getting tangible production, on the score sheet. He's a guy that scores in that season opener down in Washington, but then had a really couple of rough games that you wonder if he's still dealing with some of that upper body injury he suffered during the preseason, just because he just hasn't seemed like himself in a couple of these games. Up in Ottawa, I think he only had 2 shifts in the third period. So for him to get a game like this where you get a goal, you impact the game a bit more. He had that hit on Fowler that kind of took him out for the rest of the game. You look at guys like David Krejci, David Pastrnak, all these things, and how much you can get a lift out of them in the top 6. But Hall's still a guy that, he may not be the headliner, but he's a guy that really drives plays, elite in transition when he's on his game. So getting him rolling, getting him comfortable, and getting him synced up with whether it's a Berger or a Krejci, it's going to be key for this team. So good to see him build a little bit more positive momentum as well. So those are kind of our early takeaways from the game. We'll continue to have game reports, breakdowns, all that stuff on Boston Sports Journal from tonight's game, as well as every game going forward. Thanks, guys.